time, I'll call to order the June 2024 meeting of the Clearwater City Council. Tonight's meeting is a business meeting to conduct city business. And we, beginning in 1977, adopted rules for the conduct of this meeting. The intention is not to prevent anybody from exercising their constitutional rights. The purpose of our rules are to conduct a business meeting. And all citizens are welcome here tonight to participate in the business meeting, but this is a business meeting. It is not, it's not amateur hour at the comedy club. It's not a studio for somebody to make a commercial for commercial purposes or promote their own business. It's a business meeting. And so there are certain rules that many of you here are aware of. Some of them are printed in the agenda tonight if you want to review those before we start. But I just want to remind folks that that if you want to speak to an agenda item, it needs to be any matter that we are required on to act on here tonight. That's business that is before the city council tonight, even on an agenda item. If you speak toward an agenda item, all your comments need to be related to that agenda item. And we do have some rules of conduct. Again, they've been in place for 47 years. They haven't been written in the past 6 months to a year to address anybody in particular. For 47 years, we have had rules in place, this council, to help us conduct a business meeting. And a business meeting that is fair to all citizens so that any individual citizen here tonight doesn't dominate or threaten or intimidate somebody else and giving them the opportunity to present whatever they want to present. I just want to remind folks that if you do take the dais tonight to speak, that our rules say that you are to address me and the council as a whole and not to anyone else on the dais or anyone else in the room. It's part of our business meeting that if you want to talk about city business, you address it to me and to the council. And we will rule out of order anyone who shouts or speaks in a manner that threatens or incites a criminal offense, engages in name-calling or personal attacks against identified individuals, or displays any such material on the city's overhead, extends the middle finger or making other obscene gestures while another person has the floor speaking, refuses to leave the podium once the allotted time has expired, prevents or attempts to prevent a member of the audience from seeing or hearing council members, stands on chairs or tables or attempts to rearrange the city's seating, brings signs or banners into the council room unless advance permission was granted, wears any article of clothing or accessory that contains obscenity or expressly advocates for the election or defeat of a named individual for public office, or displays such campaign materials on the overhead projector. And when any, you'll get a warning if you violate these rules. But if you don't want to help the folks sitting next to you, help us participate as a group. Be kind and respectful to the other people who are there, who are here. And we've warned you about that, then we'll just have to ask you to leave that time. But again, no one here on this council wants to deny anybody First Amendment rights. And frankly, some have come here because they've been advocating Second Amendment rights. The majority of this council is on the same page with those who want to protect our Second Amendment rights. So that's not what we're doing here with these rules. We're trying to conduct a business meeting. And this is the time and place for those who want to participate in the business that we have addressing tonight on the agenda. Tonight's the opportunity for you to come in and do that. All we're asking is you follow the rules that we've had in place for 47 years, to be respectful to others who are here tonight who also want to share their thoughts and opinions with us. So with that, we'll go to item 2 on the agenda. At this time, I'll call forward Major Ted Morris with the Salvation Army, who will deliver tonight's invocation, and I ask that we all remain standing afterwards for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's begin our meeting with prayer. Our Father, we thank you for this forum in which we can view the business of our city. We thank you for our mayor, for our city manager, city attorney, members of this council. We thank you for their staff. We thank you for the first responders, police, fire, medical personnel, and all those who support each one of these sitting here, the city employees, and those who serve our city. Thank you for those upon whom the mantle of authority has been placed. We ask that the discussion tonight will be in accordance with your will for our beautiful city. For it's in the name of the one who gives us breath and life. In your name we pray. Amen.
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 Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America.
Now move to item 4 on the agenda. Before that, I want to introduce our dais tonight. To my right is our city manager, Jennifer Poirier.
Good evening.
To her left is Councilmember Ryan Cotton.
Good evening.
To my immediate right is Councilmember Lena Teixeira.
Good evening.
To my immediate left is Vice Mayor David Albritton.
Good evening.
To his left is Councilmember Mike Menino.
Good evening.
And to his left is our city attorney, David Margolis.
Good evening.
That will now move to item, do we have service awards?
Actually, no, sir.
Okay.
That item's been pulled.
Okay. So we'll then move to item 5 on the agenda, which is approval 5.1, which is approval of the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. This time we'll move to item 6.1, our consent agenda.
Council members, I have a request to remove the following items from the consent agenda: 6.2, 6.3, 6.6, and 6.7.
Is there a motion to approve those items which have not been removed from the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. This time we'll move to item 6.2 on the agenda.
Authorize the purchase of vehicles, heavy and light duty, and equipment in the not-to-exceed amount of $17,575,900 pursuant to Clearwater Code of Ordinances, Section 2.563, paren 1, paren C, piggyback 2.563, paren 1, paren D, non-competitive purchases, and 2.561, paren 5, small purchases. Declare the vehicles and equipment being replaced as surplus and authorized for disposal at auction or trade-in, whichever is in the best interest of the city, pursuant to Clearwater Code of Ordinances, Section 2.623, paren 6, paren 7, paren C, paren 7, paren E, and paren 8. Authorize lease purchase under the city's master lease purchase agreement or internal financing via an interfund loan from the Capital Improvement Fund, whichever is deemed to be in the city's best interest, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Peter Bardot, General Services Director. The Fleet Division is requesting a consolidated expenditure authorization in the not-to-exceed amount of $17,575,900 for acquisition of vehicles and equipment per attached spreadsheet. Due to delays in manufacturing, the Fleet Department is requesting to begin that procurement process for the vehicles and equipment on the FY25 vehicle purchase replacement list ahead of the FY25 budget that starts October 1. In addition to prolonged delays in receiving vehicle and/or equipment, the order banks for the vehicles are fluid and open and closed without notice. Ordering now will enable Fleet to get orders submitted in advance of other municipalities. Finally, the authorization to purchase helps insulate the city against price increases. I'll take any questions.
Okay. Does anyone here from the public desire to speak to item 6.2?
How y'all doing? I'm back. All right. I'm not saying that the city doesn't need $17.5 million. The one thing I went through, and the weird thing is that people have to go to your website. They have to go to online. They have to go through, I think there was like 7 different other PDFs inside this. The one thing I have problems with is you're not saying how many vehicles. You're not saying how many heavy, you're not saying how many medium, you're not saying how many light. You're not saying how many golf vehicles, you're not saying how many agriculture or lawn equipment. And what I did see was that this is a 74% increase from last year. Did you hear that, everybody? This is a 74% increase from the last year that they did this. So, you know, and then what types of vehicles, like I said, and then how many are still functional? How many are still actually viable for the city? You know, and I did read that a lot of these vehicles that you're gonna be taking are actually gonna be, guess what? You're gonna sell them. Great. So if you're gonna sell vehicles, why, you know, this is no different than the $1 million worth of boats. This is no different. You're like, we're just gonna give $17.5 million. Welcome to Clearwater, everybody, where we're just, we're made of money. You know, it's like, I don't get it. Like, I don't live here and I can't, even, I heard this is a business meeting. As a business, I've run businesses and like, I'm trying to understand all of this. I'm truly trying to understand this. But it doesn't make sense how you go to if I had a 74% increase in my budget for a restaurant, do you know how many plates and silverware and new ovens and things like that? Like, just make this money make sense. And that's why I say, you know, people come here and they look at, they're looking at 6.2 and they're like, oh, okay. But try to make it make sense. Because I sat 4 hours away from here and I had to do my due diligence and look at all this. And do you think that's fair to I'm doing that from 4 hours away. What about the people that actually live here? Make this make sense at the end of the day. That's what I'm trying to do with all of this, you know? I'll see you on the next one.
Any other citizens here that desire to be heard on item 6.2?
Hi, I'm Blaine Enderly. This is a business meeting. Can we have a list of all this on an Excel spreadsheet so we can understand it? How many, like Mike said, this is business, nothing more than business. Thank you. My email's over there.
Any other residents desire to be heard with regard to item 6.2? Seeing none, is there any council discussion on item 6.2? Councilmember Cotton.
I'd just like to point out that this is accessible on the City of Clearwater's website. There is a PDF. The one you would be looking for is going to be titled 2425 VRL PDF, because I had a lot of concerns with this one as well, especially with the price point. And it does go line by line with which vehicle, which year needs to be replaced and what it's being replaced with.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Is there a motion to approve item 6.2?
Motion to approve item 6.2.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Move to item 6.3.
Authorize purchase orders to multiple vendors as listed for the maintenance and repair of city vehicles and equipment in the annual amount of $250,000 for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year renewal options pursuant to invitation to bid 30-24 and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Peter Bardo, General Services Director. Invitation to bid number 30-24, Vehicle Equipment Repair and Maintenance Services, was issued on March 15th, 2024, and the city received multiple responses on April 18th, 2024. The pricing structure was based on hourly rates and parts and material markup for repair and maintenance service on city vehicles and equipment to include automobiles, sedans, SUVs, light trucks, etc. Work performed on this purchase order will be for overflow work that the fleet division is unable to handle due to volume or time constraints. Take any questions?
Anyone here from the public desire to speak to item 6.3?
I'm back again. My name's Michael Taylor. We all know who I am. And I've heard numerous people don't like me, but whatever. Anyway, I see this is $250,000 for this year and the next 2 years. So that's $750,000. Man, this thing's getting heavy. That's $750,000 for the next 3 years on repairs and maintenance. And then in the same sentence, you're sitting there buying $17.5 million worth of brand new stuff. Like, why don't you just use the $250,000 a year to repair the vehicles that you already have? Wouldn't that, like, or even cut that $17.5 million, cut that in half and just repair the vehicles? It just sounds like Clearwater wants a bunch of new stuff. I love new stuff. You know, every time I go and buy a new firearm, I'm like, dude, this is the most amazing thing in the world. And that's what it seems like with Clearwater, is that, you know, it's not the same principle. I mean, I get why you're doing it. It's for vehicles and it's for doing, you know, whatever. But at the same time, this is for maintenance. You know, you're buying lawn equipment. I want to make sure I got my notes correct. I think in this repairs, there's something about with the lawn equipment. What I think I think that's not even on here, about mowing grass, right? Was that on the consent agenda as well? But it got scrubbed.
Yep.
I'm just guessing because when I read the first one and I watched the meeting, that's what I saw, but I don't see it here. So that's why I'm questioning this repairs and maintenance, and then you're buying lawn equipment for, like, I just don't see, all I see is money just going, and I want the citizens of Clearwater to question all of this. I don't want to do this. I'm questioning it because I see it and I watch it from 4 hours away, and then here I am. Ta-da, here I am. And why am I the one pulling these things off the agenda? You know? That's what doesn't make sense to me, is why I'm the one doing this, but
Good question.
whatever.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no worries.
Anyone else desire to speak to item 6.3?
I'm Mr. Halubo. The part that I have a problem with 6.3, and it's a often recurring thing, is this, 2 one-year renewal options. It would appear that you're just giving whoever authority to do this over and over again without coming back before the city council. And I think that's, disingenuous. I don't think that's in the spirit of openness. I think that if 1 year goes by and they need another $250,000, that they should come before the city council and ask for it again. So I'm opposed to this one just based on the fact of the 2 one-year renewal options. And like I say, that is not an unusual line item that are in these agenda items. It needs to be something that needs to be written out, because it's not right to just give them carte blanche for 2 years to just do whatever they want with $500,000 potentially.
Any other citizen here desire to be heard with regard to item 6.3? Seeing none, is there any council discussion? Councilmember Cotton?
Peter, just want to point out that the $250,000, doesn't mean the $250 gets spent in that year. That's only if these
authority to
vehicles
spend.
need to go in for the maintenance, and that wouldn't be on the new vehicle maintenance. That would be on the existing vehicle that's out of warranty, that our fleet can't handle, that they need to offload. So we're just essentially allowing,
Our fleet department on a daily basis has a capacity of what we can do, right? If we have 2,000 pieces of equipment, if everything breaks at the same time, we can't repair it all. There's priorities, something comes in, we gotta have an outlet, and this is exactly what it is. It's authority to spend, it doesn't mean it is spent.
thank you.
Councilmember Menino?
Yeah, my question, just to make sure we're on the same page, is it in the city's discretion to renew that annually contract, or is it in the vendor's discretion?
Both realistically, but yes, it would be.
At the end of the day, if you're not happy with the contract?
Yeah, they can decline, it doesn't happen often, but of course, they can decline as well.
Any further council discussion? Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve agenda item 6.3.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Unanimous. Move to agenda item 6.6.
Authorize a purchase order to Florida ULS Operating LLC, doing business as United Land Services of Jacksonville, Florida, for landscape maintenance services at designated public utility facilities in the annual not to exceed amount of $175,000 for the period of June 21, 2024 through June 20, 2025, with 2 one-year renewal options at the city's discretion pursuant to ITV 24-24, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. The item before you is for the purchase of landscaping services for 13 public utilities facilities. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
This time, is there anyone here from the public desire to speak to item 6.6 on the agenda?
See, that's where I got lost, because on the agenda item that you had at the work session was 8.3, and that's where I got lost. But the lawn services, like I said, with the brand-new lawn equipment and agriculture equipment that you're buying in 6.1 for $17 million, it's not that I understand where I live. Like, I actually see, it's called Juniper. They sit there and they mow, like, you know, all the medians and things like that. The only issue with this, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe you didn't put in those little notations that you have to go all the way to your website just to find all these PDFs, but it says 13 sites in 115 acres. What are the 13 sites? What are the 115 acres? No, maybe I'm just blind and I just overlooked it because I tried to click on every one of them, but, you know, I'm also going through all of this because, you know, I'm watching you. When I say I'm watching you, I'm watching you. You know, there's a lot more that I'm gonna go over later on today, but I'm just make it make sense. I get that, trust me, I understand. Where I come from, we have those.
Mr. Taylor, you know, address it.
Okay.
You're talking to us.
Just the same way you did it last time.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Whoever.
You are to address me and the council.
Okay, the person that's asking for the $175,000 that's over on my right-hand side right now, I understand it, dude, trust me. And trust me, everybody here, I understand that there are times that you need to outsource this. But just make it make sense for the citizens. Because if a guy from 4 Hours is digging into this and he can't even find it, help these people, just like you just did 2 seconds ago with the other agenda item. You kind of clarified more reasoning behind it, but whenever you're in these work sessions, that's not what goes on. I literally watch a work session for almost 3 hours just to learn nothing, and then I have to go to your website to freaking go through all this. This is like, just make it make sense for the layman person. Make it make sense for just average Joe, but this is what you want to do, you know. Public comment is going to be fun, dude. I'll tell you that.
Anyone else desire to speak to item 6.6?
All right, I'm Lane Enderly. Will you please provide me the 13 addresses to my email so I know what this money is going to? And if there's anything like, what type of mowing? Are they doing trees? What are they doing? And why isn't this man over here providing a list so we can all see? That blows my mind.
Anyone else here desire to speak to item 6.6?
I'm Mr. Haluba. And as I read this, this has all got to do with public utilities. Public utilities are an enterprise-funded endeavor, as if they were a standalone business. So my question is, nowhere in here does it say where these funds are coming from. Are they coming out of the funds that utilities generates, or are they coming out of general funds? If they're coming out of general funds, that's improper. If they're coming out of enterprise funds, out of public utilities budget somewhere that they have generated by providing a service to the citizens, then that's fine. But I don't see where it says that here. anywhere. And just like many other things that go on with this city council, you tend to mix and change up and move funds around between general funds and enterprise funds, usually from enterprise funds to the general fund. That's not right. It's wrongful. It's bad accounting, and it is generally is against generally accepted accounting principles.
Is anyone else here from the public desire to speak to agenda item 6.6?
Yes.
Good evening, Council. My name is Andre Johnson, born and raised here, graduate of Clearwater High School, student at St. Pete College. This is my mother, Sherelle Johnson. She's a frontliner with Bay Care Hospital, two-time retiring. We are here today to discuss the issues that has my mother in a wheelchair. This is Chapter 15, Construction
Yeah,
Safeguards,
Mr.
Section.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
We have an opportunity for public comment at the end of the agenda.
Okay, I'm
This
sorry.
is
so
for
we
just
came in
this
late.
agenda item.
Okay, well,
So-
it just says on the city website to discuss them as a broken sidewalks and tripping hazards, and this is the result. My mother's 71 years old, and because of a
This
construction
is
site.
for a landscaping project. This is not
I
about.
understand, but even with landscaping, we still talk about the pedestrian community safety. So if you're gonna talk about construction, I believe this would be in the same
We
scope.
need to keep the discussion for this. You'll have the opportunity.
Yes,
later
I'm
in the
discussing Chapter 15, safeguard, dealing with
agenda.
landscaping,
And I'm telling you, that will be
construction.
later on the agenda, and I invite you to come back then and speak at that.
Okay, so
agenda.
when would that be, sir?
It's. Public comment is 9.
9?
Agenda number 9.
Okay,
We'll invite you at that time.
yeah, I
to come
appreciate
back.
it, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry for the confusion.
Thank you for being
We came
patient.
in late, and this was the delay
No,
because of that.
thank you for being patient. Is anyone else here desire to speak to agenda item 6.6? Seeing none, is there any council discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve item 6.6.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Move to agenda item 6.7.
Award purchase orders to Performance Wraps LLC doing business as Wraps Direct and Sign Age of Tampa Bay, Inc. for citywide purchases and installation of aluminum signage in the cumulative annual amount of $275,000 for initial term of July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025, with 2 one-year renewal options pursuant to invitation to bid 31-24 and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Art Cater, Parks and Recreation Director. This item is basically to go to 2 vendors for signs, and we discussed at our work session on Monday. If you have any questions, available to answer.
Is anyone here from the public desire to speak to agenda item 6.7?
Yeah, I really don't have too much problems with this. I know it's actually beneficial because I did watch and learn a lot how these signs are made of aluminum. You're wrapping them with vinyl. You're doing it double-sided, putting Spanish and English and giving people very, very knowledgeable stuff about it, which is great. I love it. And that I actually learned something about that. You know, they're like, hey, we're gonna paint these things, all these things. You know, I know that we look at me like, but I had to speak about this just to say it positive because I'm not just about the negative with you guys. This is actually a good thing for all your parks because guess what? The longevity of it. Because those things will be able to be replaced and refurbished for years and years to come, and it's gonna cost you a lot less than the $500,000 boats that you're gonna lose money on. But I'm truly, really appreciative of this. This is really a good item that you guys are doing, and I don't want you to just think negative of me. I know some of the things that have been said and whatever have been negative, but this is actually a really good positive. The only thing is, I didn't notice how many signs were gonna be done, but that, it really doesn't matter. Yeah, the fact that they can be refurbished at any given time, no matter, you know, unless the thing gets blown away during a hurricane. pretty much these things could be refurbished at any time, you know? So I'm just trying to say a little bit of positive. I don't want you to think I'm just doing negative, so good job, guys.
Does anyone else here from the public desire to speak to agenda item 6.7? Seeing none, is there any council discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.7.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. It's time we move to item 7.1.
Amend the city's fiscal year 2023-24 operating and capital improvement budgets at mid-year and pass ordinances 9771-24 and 9772-24 on first reading.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Kayleen Castle, Budget Director. This is the first reading of the ordinances to pass the mid-year budget review. I went over the report with you on Monday. I'd be happy to answer any additional questions that you have.
Anyone here from the public desire to speak to agenda item 7.1? Seeing none, any questions from the council? City Attorney?
Mayor, we have first up ordinance number 9771-24, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the operating budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024, to reflect increases and decreases in revenues and expenditures for the general fund, water and sewer fund, gas fund, solid waste and recycling fund, parking fund, and special program fund as provided herein, providing an effective date. In addition to that, we have ordinance number 9772-24, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the capital improvement budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024, to reflect an increase of $1,100,109, providing an effective date.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 7.1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. It's time to move to agenda item 7.2.
Approve the reallocation of ARPA-related funding, including $625,000 previously allocated to the main library renovations, a reallocation of $3 million previously allocated to North Greenwood CRA, the allocation of $40,000 of Cultural Affairs Nonprofit Grant Program funds previously allocated to the Community Service Foundation, and approve the reallocation of $3 million of general fund from Project ENGF 220001, New City Hall, to the North Greenwood CRA.
Good evening, Council. Jay Ravens, Finance Director. Previously reviewed this item and the allocations with you at Monday's work session. Be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone here from the public desire to speak to agenda item 7.2?
What's going on on Blaine Enderly? Can anybody explain to me what's going on with the elevator in this building? Nobody's talking about it. Hasn't been working. Thank you.
Anyone else here from the public desire to speak with regard to item 7.2? Councilmember Cotton, Menino.
Move to approve agenda item 7.2.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. It's time we move to agenda item 7.3.
Approve a future land use map amendment from institutional I category to the commercial general CG category for 407 South Saturn Avenue, and pass ordinance 9765-24 on first reading.
Good evening, Gina Clayton, Planning and Development. This application involves 3 parcels of land, approximately 2.3 acres in area, located on the north side of Galta Bay Boulevard between South Mars and Saturn. And the request is to amend the future land use map from institutional to commercial general. The property is occupied by St. Paul's Lutheran Church, and they are trying to facilitate the sale and reuse of the property. As you can see on the map, the property is surrounded by commercial general and residential high, and the area is really a mix of a lot of commercial, all different kinds of commercial properties, including some residential. As outlined in the staff report, the proposed future land use category is consistent with the surrounding area. It will not degrade the level of city services, and it meets the standards outlined in the Community Development Code. for land use plan amendments. The CDB reviewed this at their May meeting and unanimously recommended approval.
Is there anyone here from the public that wishes to speak with regard to agenda item 7.3?
Mayor, are you the applicant? The applicant has
Applicant's here?
5 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Ryan Manassi with Johnson Pope. I'll be short tonight. Staff did a great job explaining our request. The amendment will provide an opportunity for infill development that's consistent and compatible with the surrounding neighborhood and the existing uses. We haven't received any opposition to our request, and as staff indicated, the Community Development Board did approve our request on May 21st, 2024. We have a full presentation, but in light of time and in respect of your time, just reserve that for any questions that you should have for me.
Public comment now? Okay. Is anyone here from the public desire to speak with regard to item 7.3? Seeing none, is there any council discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve, oh, just kidding. Mr. Margolis?
I'll just read the title of the ordinance for this one. This is ordinance number 9765-24, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to change the land use designation for certain real property located on the northeast corner of South Saturn Avenue and Gulf to Bay Boulevard, whose post office address is 407 South Saturn Avenue, Clearwater, Florida, 33755, from institutional I to commercial general CG, providing an effective date.
Make a motion to approve item 7.3.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. This time I'd ask the council's consensus to take out of order item 8.1 and hear this item at this place on the agenda before we hear 7.4.
Council, just for clarification, it's a companion item. Unfortunately, this item that you just heard is a administrative public hearing, but the companion item is a quasi-judicial, so in an effort to try to hear them at the same time.
You have consensus?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This time I will call agenda item 8.1.
Approve a zoning atlas amendment from the institutional I district to the commercial C district for 407 South Saturn Avenue and pass ordinance 9766-24 on first reading.
This is the rezoning application that goes along with the one you previously heard, except for there are 2 parcels instead of 3 because one of them were already designated as commercial on the zoning map. The request is to zone the 2 from institutional to commercial, and the site is adjacent to and across the street, as you can see on the map, in a sea of commercial zoned area, as well as high-density residential to the east. There are a variety of commercial uses in this area, and the CDB reviewed this and recommended approval.
This time call forward to the applicant.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Ryan Manassi with Johnson Pope. Again, out of respect for your time, I'd be happy to answer any questions about our companion rezoning that's going along with this comprehensive plan map amendment, should you have any.
Questions? I don't believe we have any. So at this time, does the staff want to present anything further? Then anyone here from the public desire to comment with regard to item 8.1? Council discussion.
Ordinance number 9766-24, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by rezoning certain real property located on the northeast corner of South Saturn Avenue and Gulf to Bay Boulevard, whose post office address is 407 South Saturn Avenue, Clearwater, Florida, 33755, from institutional I to commercial C, providing an effective date.
Any further discussion by the council? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 8.1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Now we'll return back to agenda item 7.4 on the agenda.
Approve an increase in proposal from Kokalakis Contracting, Inc. of Tarpon Springs, Florida, for the construction of the Clearwater Beach Marina in the amount of $43,469,475, bringing the total to $43,568,739 pursuant to request for qualifications 19-22. Approve a not to exceed loan of $18 million from the Capital Improvement Fund to the Marine Fund and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Good evening, Council. Mike McDonald, Marine and Aviation Director. I know we covered a lot during the work session on the condition of the Clearwater Beach Marina and the dire state it is in. The need to refurbish the Clearwater Beach Marina was identified by the city as far back as 2008 and has been well documented. So I'd like to provide just an overview of the budget, design, and cost. Around 2017, city staff began identifying the Clearwater Beach Marina as a future capital improvement project, and the budget was established at $18 million. In 2021, the city contracted with Moffitt & Nichol for $1.5 million to design the Clearwater Beach Marina. In March of 2022, Moffitt & Nichol provided an estimate of $25 million that was higher than the budgeted amount of $18 million. And later in October of that same year, council was given a presentation by staff and Moffitt & Nichol that discussed a budget shortfall along with 3 valued engineering options and a hybrid concept. The council directed staff to pursue the hybrid concept, which had an estimate at the time of $28 million and included a scope change that included a raised seawall, which had an associated cost of $4 million. In January 2023, J. Kokolakis Contracting was approved for pre-construction services as the construction manager at risk. The budget provided to the CMAR at the time was between $19 million and $32 million. Both Moffitt & Nichol and J. Kokolakis Contracting worked together to reconcile the difference between the previous estimates and the true cost to construct. For the budget of fiscal year 23-24, the city's capital program budget assumes a $28 million project as a result of the October 2022 concept plan approved by council. Also at this point, TDC grant was being requested and likelihood of receiving the grant was high. In November 2023, the architect advises the council at the 60% design that the project is now likely to cost $34.6 million. At this point, a project deficit now exists because our capital improvement budget assumes a project cost of $28 million. At that point, it was too late in the fiscal year of 2024 process to account for the budget, but the TDC funding would likely fill the gap. May of 2024, the CMAR bid the marine equipment, electric, and site work to subcontractors and indicated a potential GMP of $49 million. Staff and the contractors discussed further value engineering opportunities and reduced the GMP signed by the CMAR for $43.5 million. Any unfunded portion of this project will not be paid for by the taxpayer, but by the Marine and Aviation Enterprise Fund, covered by revenues received by the Clearwater Beach Marina. Currently, due to its current poor condition, the tenant rates are below market value. Once the construction is complete, we project an increase in revenue as a result of adjusting those market rates. Once the construction is complete, the revenue rates will be sufficient to cover the expense associated with the loan. The marina will generate revenue from fuel cells, commercial and recreational tenant slip rentals, and upland support leases. The unfunded portion of the project would therefore be paid by the Marine and Aviation Enterprise Fund, and we believe it would be repaid in approximately 10 years. I would like to ask the Director of Public Works, Marcus Williams, to come speak to the challenges we experienced and the changing estimates for this project.
Evening, Mayor, Council members. I wanted to add some insight to how Public Works is starting to address some of the challenges that we're seeing from the budgets and estimates that are resulting in some of these impacts. So post-COVID, what we've started to see is market pricing is swinging much faster for a number of reasons that are out there. And just the way that the industry is typically worked with the A&Es providing estimates, what they're seeing now is you really have to go to the vendors that are selling it and get current updated estimates that are out there. So A&Es aren't usually the ones that are buying the product. It tends to be the general contractor or the CMAR that's purchasing it. So a lot of these vendors like everyone else, is short on manpower, so they're more likely to respond to the CMAR or GC that's asking for pricing. So when the A&E does it, it's much more challenging for them to go out and get vendors. So if they're using historical data, it tends to lag a couple of years because they're going back to an old project and then just trying to apply inflation percentages. So ways for us to start to address that is we put out a solicitation to get some assistance that we'll be able to do some of our own estimating. So the intention is to go in at the initial concept. We want to scope that contract or the budget out a lot more thoroughly up front and work with developing these concept estimates a little bit more thorough with somebody that's in the industry that can reach out and grab current pricing and then also be able to apply that to those future years that we're intending to do it. The other piece would then be each year, as we're going into our budget cycle, we need to revisit those prices to make sure, are we good? There's set deliverables as they go through design with a 30, 60, 90, and the issue for construction that we would pick up. So each of those are opportunities for us to do it, and then we just need to be able to make sure that we're engaging well with finance and whichever department is out there overseeing the project to make sure everybody's seeing the current numbers that are going to be out there. We're also doing other things like we're looking at software that can give us real-time data, so this is coming in, everybody can see it simultaneously instead of having to rely on emails and then did somebody actually see it. So we're investigating a number of those different opportunities to get after fixing some of these issues. And then I would also offer Moffitt and Nichols is present in the audience if you had any specific questions regarding their estimate.
Do anyone here from the public desire to speak with regard to item 7.4?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Patrick Raftery. I reside in the countryside area of Clearwater. This item I listened to at the work session with a great deal of interest because it reminded me of my business career when I was a project manager. And I can recall many occasions being called into my boss's office to be told, I have good news and bad news for you. The good news is you've been selected amongst a number of candidates to be the project manager for this rather significant undertaking that the corporation is going to do. The bad news is that you are the project manager. The reason they said that, quite frankly, was that basically our focus was going to be timeline for completion and cost to do the completion. This one, I think, has got a very good explanation as to how we got from the original $18 million to the now reconciled $43.5 million, necessitating a loan from the general fund of $18 million that will be repaid by the Marine Board. The only caution I would add is that I am hoping with the completion date of May 2026 that this is the last significant increase that we're going to see on a very needed project for the city, no doubt, $43.5 million. And there will be no further need of a loan from the city to help them get through it. May 2026 is the deadline that's been established. $43.5 million is the current exposure. Where I come from, our distinguished accountants that we used to call bean counters were watching over our shoulders as we spent money. I'm hoping Mr. Margolis's team or someone from that team is watching this project very closely to basically say we need to make sure that for the public and spending public's money, $43.5 million appears to be the final number, and we will bring this project home and to completion at $43.5 million in May of 2026. It is a great thing for the city of Clearwater. It will be a great source of revenue for us, but we just have to realize there will be a limit to the funding that we can provide for it. Thank you very much for your time.
Is anyone else here desire to speak with regard to agenda item 7.4?
I do have a question, if that's okay. Is
Just
that-
fill out a comment card if you're going to speak.
About this, okay.
Yeah.
Just say your, just state
I
your
filled out
name.
a comment card for the end.
You can fill it out after you speak if you want to
My question was just if the rumor's true about the floating docks that they were going to do with the marina upgrade. And I just wanted to throw it out there, there's a lot of issues with that.
You might fill out a comment
Oh,
card.
in regards to that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
No, I've got it. You're just Tricia Newman, correct?
Yeah,
Good.
it was just a concern.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else desire to speak with regard to item 7.4?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name's Chad Haggard. I am the owner-operator of Double Eagle Deep Sea Fishing in the Clearwater Beach Marina. We've been there since May 1967. When that marina was first designed, my grandfather was on the design team. That's how long our family's been around here in Clearwater. The marina is long due for improvements, and as business owners, we're excited about a lot of the stuff that's coming up. One thing that has some of us concerned is the loss of some parking that's going to be for the boardwalk, as well as the larger businesses. There's 2 party boat businesses and 2 dinner boat businesses that currently have storage sheds that are built over the water on our docks, which I'm told now is not on the new code, you can't do. And there's been some talk of different ideas for upland support, one of them being us being able to lease space on the first floor of a potential parking garage, which I've heard is starting to move forward, but I haven't heard any talk on the council level about it. I sit on the co-chair of the Marina Tenant Outreach Group that we meet with the harbor master, with Mr. McDonald and that on a bi-weekly basis, usually to discuss some of this stuff. So I just wanted to come here tonight to speak on that and see if that is on the council agenda or bring it to your attention. The marina not only is in dire need of reconstruction, which is going to be a good thing, but it's been in dire need for decades of additional parking. I can remember coming to these meetings as a kid with my dad saying the same thing. And with some of the parking that's going to come out to make for this boardwalk, which will be nice, we need to have some additional parking. And more importantly, I haven't heard any other type of idea for the upland support for the storage that especially the larger businesses are going to need. I haven't heard anything in there on that, and it makes me nervous that we're moving along with this without the discussion of a possible parking garage during phase 2, I think is when they were mentioning it. So I just wanted to come here and make those comments tonight. Thank you all.
Thank you. Anyone else with regard to item 7.4?
I'm back. All right. I'm not saying you don't need 43.5 or almost $44 million. What my concern is that when I looked at the thing, one of the things that stood out was, oh, we are going to put 2 brand new slips for 2 brand new boats that you just bought. And from what I remember, this was supposed to go to the Clearwater Ferry LLC. Well, I took a walk out here today, and right out over here where that boat is, there's a big old banner, says a number, but there's no boat. So my concern is that these 2 brand new boats are actually going to the Tropic Boats, to the other person, because it's the same person, Patricia Rodriguez and Dennis Rodriguez. Those are the persons that are inheriting these boats. The Tropic Boats has an alcohol license on it. The Clearwater Ferry does not. The Clearwater Ferry is the LLC is for 14 Drew Street, right over here. The other one is for 25 Causeway Boulevard, which is just over the thing where you're trying to build this brand new $43 million. I'm not saying that place doesn't need it. Do you not think I went over there and took video of it to see what was in disarray? Like, I'm not joking. Like, I drove 4 hours here just to do research, and I'm sitting here like, yeah, I'm sure it does. And all the tenants and all the people that are over there are like, hey, this place is breaking down. I get that. But my thing is, this is like you said, this is a business. It's like a business buying a $43 million home and expecting to, what, a 30-year? Are you on a 30-year project to get the $43 million back? Because obviously there's people paying for those slips. So in the next 30 years, are you going to recoup the $600,000 that you're putting into it? And I'm not saying, that's the one thing about like, with Margolis saying, oh, we don't get in third-party things. This is actually this is your marina. So as a business, you would think that you would say, hey, how long is it gonna take for us to recoup $43 million? That's the thing about all of this is, oh, and by the way, this is not being live streamed. My whistleblowers are texting me right now saying they can't see anything that's going on, so I don't know who's in charge of that. But just to I just want my whistleblowers to be able to see what's going on right now. They say that this is supposed to be a water taxi. There's no time and nothing. You go to both of their websites, and the one thing that they promote is their dolphin tours, their sunset tours, and their 4th of July, Memorial Day tours. That's where this money's going. That's where these $1 million boats went, and this $43 million.
Time's up. Thank you. Anyone else here desire to speak to agenda item 7.4? Hearing none, is there any council discussion? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 7.4.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. This time we'll move to agenda item 7.5.
Approved to vacate city right-of-way and alley as requested by the adjoining parcel landowner First Baptist Church of Clearwater, Inc., as shown on Exhibit A as part of Kentucky Avenue. A 60-foot platted right-of-way, Michigan Avenue, a 60-foot platted right-of-way, and the platted 16-foot alley in Block 4, all being contiguous in Block 4 Bayview City Subdivision, as recorded in Official Records, Book 9, Page 3, Public Records of Pinellas County, Florida, and passed ordinance 9753-24 on first reading.
Thank you, Rose. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Robert Kasmer, Public Works Engineering, Real Estate Coordinator. In brief for you tonight is a request to vacate right-of-way and alley has been received from the adjoining landowner, the First Baptist Church of Clearwater, for the proposed use as sporting fields. The requested area is the remaining portion of Kentucky Avenue, Meadowlark Lane, and a non-named alley. All design and ingress and egress plans concerns were addressed and resolved. All utilities will be placed under easement upon this approval. City staff have reviewed and approved this vacation request. And also, there will be bathroom facilities during the park when it's open, when the sporting fields are open. So that's good for everybody. Any questions, please?
Read this.
Mayor, we have ordinance number 9753-24, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, vacating a part of Kentucky Avenue, a 60-foot platted right-of-way, Michigan Boulevard, a 60-foot platted right-of-way, and the platted 16-foot alley in Block 4, all being contiguous with Block 4 of Bayview City subdivision, as recorded in Plat Book 9, page 43, Public Records of Pinellas County, Florida, providing an effective date.
Does anyone here from the public desire to speak with regard to item 7.5?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Clay Gilman, I'm here on behalf of the applicant. Just want to say thank you to Robert for all the work he's done on this. We appreciate, him making sure we're getting the correct area vacated. And I'm happy to answer any questions and, just would like to save my time if anybody needs to rebut anybody. Thank you.
Anyone else here from the public desire to speak with regard to item 7.5? Seeing none, is there any council discussion?
Move to approve agenda item 7.5.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Move to agenda item 7.6.
Approved to vacate a 5-foot portion of a 10-foot drainage utility easement by request of landowner Eisenhoven, located at 1317 Melonwood Avenue, Clearwater, as shown on Exhibit A, as further defined by the westerly 5 feet of a rear northern 10-foot drainage utility easement in Lot 10, Block 4, Wood Valley, Unit Number 5, a subdivision according to recorded Plat Book 68, page 32, in the Public Records of Pinellas County, Florida, and passed ordinance 9767-24 on first reading.
Thank you, Rose. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Robert Casmer, Public Works Engineering, Real Estate Coordinator. In brief, a request has been made by the current landowner to vacate a 5-foot portion of a 10-foot rear platted utility easement. It has been confirmed there are no utilities within this easement. City staff has reviewed and approved this request. Any questions, please?
Reading.
Ordinance number 9767-24, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, vacating a 5-foot portion of a 10-foot drainage utility easement as shown on Exhibit A and further defined as the westerly 5 feet of a rear drainage utility easement in Lot 10, Block 4, Wood Valley Unit Number 5A subdivision according to Plat Book 68, page 32, as recorded in the public records of Pinellas County, Florida, providing an effective date.
Anyone here from the public desiring to speak with regard to agenda item 7.6? Seeing none, is there any council discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve item 7.6.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. We move to agenda item 7.7.
Approve to vacate a 10-foot utility easement by request of landowner Anne Marie Mayer located at 1760 Catherine Drive, Clearwater, as shown on Exhibit A and further defined as the south 5-foot utility easement on Lot 31, Block C, and north 5-foot utility easement on Lot 32, Block C, as recorded in Plat Book 66, page 16, South Lake Park, on the public records of Pinellas County, Florida, and pass ordinance 9768-24 on first reading.
Thank you, Rose. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Robert Casmer, Public Works Engineering, Real Estate Coordinator. In brief, a request has been made by the current landowner to vacate a side parcel utility easement. This easement was by plat, with all utilities subsequently relocated to the rear of all the parcels within that plat. It has been confirmed there are no utilities within this vacated request easement. City staff has reviewed and approved this request. Any questions, please?
Reading.
Mayor, we have ordinance number 9768-24, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, vacating a 10-foot utility easement shown on Exhibit A, as further defined as the south 5-foot utility easement of Lot 32, Block C, and the north 5-foot utility easement of Lot 31, Block C, South Lake Park, as recorded in Plat Book 66, page 16 of the public records of Pinellas County, Florida, providing an effective date.
Does anyone here from the public desire to speak with regard to item 7.7? Seeing none, is there any council discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 7.7.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Move to item 7.8.
Thank you.
Council members, this
Continue
item is
that.
being continued to a date uncertain, so unless there's an individual in the audience who is present to speak.
This time we'll move to agenda item 9 on the agenda. This is citizens to be heard on items not on the agenda. Before we begin, we had a speaker or two say they're not here to fight with the council or fight with the city, and we're not looking for that kind of confrontational dialogue this evening either. So we're here tonight to give each of you an opportunity to come to the microphone and speak to an item not on the agenda. We're only simply asking that in doing so, you're respectful to the other folks here. Okay. Mr. Haluba?
Thank you, Mayor. I am Mr. Haluba. Now, when a person decides to go into public service and, of course, be paid by the taxpayers, they give up by choice a great deal of their personal privacy. Sometimes the public position even comes with a residency requirement, as in city manager, city attorney. The police officers do not have any such requirement. Gandy and Wallach, neither one of them live in Clearwater. Most of the police officers do not live in Clearwater. But the question arises, does that make them some sort of outside agitators? Perhaps. Perhaps. Now, the city manager claims to be a resident of Clearwater. There's a lot of controversy about that recently. The proofs of residency that are required are listed in the city manager and the city attorney's contracts. They're not difficult. Now, the address that the city manager claims is her residence. At the tax office, the first name on that address is her daughter, Kaylee Valdez, it's #1 owner. Now, Ms. Valdez also works for the Clearwater Police. Therefore, Ms. Poirier is her daughter's boss. I think that's, very convenient. I think it's very special. I think it's unethical. City manager remains rather shady and deceitful, claiming some sort of residential disclosure protection, even though she did sign a contract that requires living in Clearwater, a residence in Clearwater. So nobody really knows exactly where she lives. However, I don't believe she lives in Clearwater, and that's a flagrant contract violation.
Mr. Mayor, if I may make a comment to that.
Okay.
I've heard this come up quite a few times now about our city manager and her contract. I've looked into the contract, and according to what I believe, I do think that she is following the contract appropriately. Not only that, but just look at all the different types of events within the city. She's been one of the most active city managers since Bill Horn. So I hear what you're saying, Mr. Haluba, and to any other people that are out here to question that. However, I would like to say that I haven't found any fault of my own through her contract as of yet.
Yeah, others of us may have more to comment on later in the meeting. We're trying to keep this be an opportunity for the public to appreciate you sharing your thoughts, but we're just trying to keep this as an opportunity for the public to share their thoughts on items not on the agenda and not have a dialogue with any one particular citizen who's here tonight. But
Understood.
I plan to address what you just said too. As well.
Understood. My apologies.
Yeah. So, okay, are there any other citizens to be heard on items that are not on the agenda?
Hi, I'm Tony with the district. I'm representing not only myself, but Downtown Pizza, Chiang Mai, Clear Sky. Scott wasn't able to come today. Mike Marsario is a member, as well as Olive and Thyme, who was able to come today as well, and myself and my 3 restaurants. So that being said, it's the majority of the 400 and 500 block, if not all of us. I have the pleasure of listening to you guys, and I first of all, I commend all you guys. I've been around long enough where I've seen you, that you guys are putting in a serious effort into trying to make this town better, and not taking into consideration the circus that it's becoming, but you guys are holding yourself not only accountable, but with class. So I appreciate that as a business owner. But that being said, is the merchants, like I said prior, are united very heavily on this point, and it's a signage. And it's not necessarily, we want necessarily to change the whole signage issue, but to follow common sense practices where the businesses can express themselves as entities, as well as make themselves look more alive. Like I said, the thing that's united the merchants more than ever is such a simple thing, but that victory of allowing us to express ourselves in our company and just streamline things and follow common sense practices would give us as merchants the voice that we've been looking for, to show that you guys, show that we're on the same side and we're trying to bring a message of unity in the merchants. And it's something, it might be a small victory, but help us achieve that, because believe me, we can change it. We can change the image that downtown has. One business, small, large, and a lot of these places aren't here today because they are running their restaurants. DeLuca's had a tent top that him and his son are attending to now with his wife. Yeah, I have Scott went over to take care of his other business that are associated in Clear Sky. You have these places that give their life to this community, and I'm telling you, they want to be heard. And the simple thing that you guys can do, and it requires minimal effort, is to follow common sense practices when it comes to signage. It's united the most diverse merchants that I've ever seen. I've been to the downtown district meetings, and this is something that I think we're all on board with. I've had the pleasure of hearing you guys last work session, and I'm happy to hear that you guys are taking our voices into consideration. I just remind and ask you guys to take it seriously, and it's give us that victory so that we can give you guys the victories you guys want in downtown. And that's it. Thank you, guys.
Are there any other citizens to be heard on items not on the agenda? Thank you for your patience in coming back to the.
Council? Again, I'll introduce myself again. This is my mom, Sherelle Johnson, two-time retired from Baycare Hospital. We're here today to discuss Chapter 15, Construction Safeguards, Section 1501 General. The 1501.6 Protection of Pedestrians. Pedestrians shall be protected during construction and demolition activities as required by Sections 1501.601 through 1501.6.7 and Table 1501.6. Signs shall be provided to direct pedestrian traffic. 1501.601 Walkways. A walkway shall be provided for pedestrian travel in front of every construction and demolition site unless the applicable governing authority authorizes the sidewalk to be fenced or closed. Walkways shall be sufficient width to accommodate the pedestrian traffic, but in no case shall be less than 4 feet in width. Walkways shall be provided with a durable walking surface. Walkways shall be accessible in accordance with Chapter 11 of the Florida Building Code. Building and shall be designed to support all imposed loads. And we get to 1501.6.2, directional barricades. Pedestrian traffic shall be protected by a directional barricade where the walkways extend into the street. The directional barricade shall be of sufficient size and construction to direct vehicle traffic away from the pedestrian path. 1501.6.4 barriers. 1501.6, barriers shall be a minimum of 8 feet in height and shall be placed on the side of the walkway nearest the construction. Barriers shall extend the entire length of the construction site. Openings in such barriers shall be protected by doors which are normally kept closed. Now, on the website of the city, it clearly says call whenever there's broken sidewalks, tripping hazards. We can go through the list. We know what's on the website. And a 12.8 site is unbarricaded, untampered, and my mom got off from work, went across the street to the store to pay her lottery, and fell in a hole that should have been not even accessible, should have been barricaded. So, Mayor, at your Bruce.Rector website, I sent you pictures of the city of Seminole, how they are in accordance with that chapter to make sure the pedestrians of their city are safe and avoid issues like this. You will see how it's properly barricaded, and it is tampered off, so you have no access to it. The location you will see is on MLK, right there next to the Clearwater substation on the sidewalk. Again, it's 12 by 8, sir. She shouldn't have been able to have access to even come there. Right now, no one on the sidewalk can come in a wheelchair, anyone in a walker, anything. This is law. 2 weeks ago, I showed code enforcement. They seen the location, and they still have not barricaded, sir. This happened the 9th of last month. So again, sir, when you check your email, you will see the pictures comparing how the city of Seminole has done what they needed to do and how we're slacking at that. And it has cost my mom as a frontliner. She's not able to go to work. She's been out of work. She broke her labrum under her kneecap. She's still going on a therapy with this. They're trying to see if she had to have surgery. So to protect the rest of excuse me, sir, to protect the rest of the community, we just want to make sure everyone's safe and barricade the construction sites.
I don't think I've received your email, so if you would, if staff would, make sure you get that from our staff here tonight, to just make sure you're sending it to the right address, because I do want to see where you have to share.
Yeah, I got on my Clearwater website and pulled up your website. I tried to send it to her, but I couldn't get it to open.
Okay,
But
I'll look for it then.
I did send them. You will see them right now. I sent them while I was sitting in here to you.
Yep.
I tried to have them print them out.
May I speak? I did 2 complaints with OSHA, and I did 2 complaints with the city of Clearwater. Now, nothing has happened. And if I been a healthcare worker for 40 years, I'm not gonna roll my wheelchair on that. It's too dangerous, and I know that. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Council.
Anyone else here desiring to speak to agenda item 9?
Hello, Mayor, Council. I had sent an email on the 12th, so I don't know when it says it goes into record. I'm trying to follow policy.
Okay, yeah.
Usually I'm working full-time, going to school. There's
You
no
got
way
3
that
minutes. You got
my
3 minutes
entire
now
life
to-
I've lived here. I haven't
Just
been
state
to a
your
meeting,
name.
so this is my first time.
Just state your name.
My name is Trish Newman, Patricia, but Trisha. So my concern is also for the safety of pedestrians and bicyclists, and these bicyclists that are electrical and motorized. And so you did get my email, Mr. Mayor? Or it went to the one that says to
It'll be
send?
part of the set of
Okay,
minutes.
all right. Because I don't want to read to you, but there was just a lot of stuff that has happened this year. And in my email, I'm describing a very vivid thing where there's a lady with her children traveling east on Druid Road, and I'm going north on Highland. And I was at the red light. I saw that the pedestrian sign was up in red, and the lady steps off, and by her second step, the light had changed green for me. Now, normally I'm not at this light, I just happen to be at the light. There's traffic always going, and I know that people aren't looking for pedestrians when the light is green. So I see this, never see any younger kids, under 18 kids, wearing a helmet. I never see this in the city of Clearwater. It's my city that I grew up in, and it really gets under my skin. And I know that the police are busy serving and protecting. I know the firefighters, and I am thankful. I do have a little thing on my desk that talks about how thankful I am. So I'm so glad that you opened up with that, because first responders. So I am pleading with you to allow them the time to at least give out warnings. I think a fine may speak stronger, but to at least give out warnings. Every bicyclist I have seen is going in the opposite direction of traffic, and that's blatantly against the law. Not wearing a helmet when you're under 18 is against the law. So to see this so common tells me that these people are not getting told. And the pedestrian woman, and I don't mean any disrespect by this, was full English. She was not like a migrant or anything, and I think I put that in the email, and that's why I worded it that way. Because I know that some people just don't understand. They don't understand it's the law. But I know this lady walking with her kids knew this was a law to not go across the street. And it just, like I said, it pulled at my heartstrings. And I just plead with you to allow the time for the police to give warnings, maybe have more bicyclists in part of the funds that they're talking about where they can stop these people. And the electric bicycles are just even scarier, going in the wrong direction. They go fast enough, to me that's scary in itself, let alone the wrong direction of traffic. So that's my 3 minutes. Thank you very much, and like I said, it's my first time, so I apologize if I'm rough around the edges or anything. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah, this is not gonna be pretty right now. Just like
But look,
Elizabeth.
look,
Oh, sorry, my name's
we
Michael.
don't, you said earlier you didn't want to fight with us. We're
I'm
not
not
here to
fighting.
fight with you. We want to give you your 3 minutes.
Why are you even talking to me right now, dude? This is my public comment.
All we're
Stop.
asking is be
Stop it.
respectful.
Stop talking to me. Yeah,
You
grab
wanna
that
begin?
gavel. I dare you.
Do you want to begin?
I do want to begin, but you just started.
Then start
I
yours.
said, what did I say? And you're going to start my time, and I'm going to say the same thing. This is not going to be pretty. And I'm not trying to fight. Right now, I know that it's not live, but anyway, hopefully you can put that up. Okay, we see right here, this is John Jennings, this is his employee contract. You see that one line right there? It's one sentence, right? Everybody's paying attention to that. Oh, look at that. Look, imagine that. Poirier's changed into 3 paragraphs. What kind of special treatment did you get so that you can sit in that seat? That's what happened. And once again,
Mr. Taylor,
stop talking to me.
call recess.
Fuck all y'all. Fuck everyone.
You've been reconvene the city council meeting of June 20, 2024. This time, are there any other citizens to be heard on items not on the agenda?
Hello, everybody. My name is Major Lee Awesome. You might remember me for the made-for-TV docudramas of Captain Awesome Heads to the Beach and The Thin Blue G-String, Tales of Domestic Violence and Steroid Abuse. I played a starring role in each. I'm here to address you folks here today because there seemed to be some confusion about public comments. I heard in one of the meetings, I believe a week or two ago, that you folks were talking about not letting people that didn't reside in the Clearwater community or the Pinellas or surrounding communities have public comment, and I wanted to clear that up for you. Every resident of the state of Florida is what they call a constituting member of the body politic and the body corporate. So anybody that's residing in the state of Florida has taxes taken out of his check or his gas or his phone or whatever, and all that state tax money gets mixed up and it gets sent back to all the cities. So every resident of Florida has paid a little bit of money here to Clearwater for whatever reason the state sent you tax money for. Okay, just like the federal government, right? I go and I speak at city council meetings all across the nation. I spoke in Uvalde after the Uvalde incident where the kids were killed at school. I've spoke in South Carolina at their city council meetings at some of the cities. It's open for everybody. Public comment is open for everybody. You don't have to live in the city. You are a member, and as a resident of Florida, you're a member of the body of Florida. So all these little municipalities, you're just political subdivisions of the body of Florida, right? You don't get to say, well, you live in Newport Richey, you can't come over here and voice your grievances with our government and how we do stuff, right? Because we're all a member of the body, okay? So I just wanted to clear that up for everybody. Seems like you guys got a lot of issues you got to work through. I haven't started to look at Clearwater, but it's looking more interesting as the time goes on. So maybe you'll be seeing a little bit more of me, guys. So thank you.
Any other citizens speak to items not on the agenda? Okay. Sir,
How you guys doing? My name is John.
what's your last name, sir?
That's my business, sir. I have the right to privacy under the Fourth Amendment.
Have you filled out a comment
Yes, I did.
card? Okay.
First thing I talked to you guys about a few months ago was these blacked out windows. Those windows are there so people don't get trampled or hurt when they can't see who's on the other side of the door. There's no reason for those to be blacked out. I'm sure nobody knows about it, nobody was told about it, and I'm sure just like the parking issue before, it'll take 20 years to get the black off the windows or somebody to get killed. Let's see. I understand you're stuck in the 70s, Mayor, but now we have media that the common man can see. And just because you don't like it and you can't control the narrative doesn't mean he doesn't have the right to exercise his rights to free press and to redress his grievances the way I'm doing now. The police chief actually assaulted the guy you just had removed for speaking. Did anything happen to the police chief for assaulting somebody for a speech? The same police department falsely imprisoned Michael Taylor on the beach for carrying a legally carried firearm. Was anything done by that? This is what started all this stuff. This is what you guys keep ignoring. The Sergeant Stiff, while he sits under the Constitution during your meetings, arrested a man for saying he gets under the thin skin of the mayor. Is that appropriate? You want to talk about appropriateness, right? This is no different than when Saddam Hussein took power and had his gunmen remove people from meetings because he didn't like their viewpoint. Why are you following that instead of the American principles of freedom? You're asking for respect at meetings, but when your police chief assaults a man and cages another for speaking out, you literally pretend like it didn't happen. You kept bringing up appropriateness, so I ask you if it's appropriate that the Clearwater PD is so ignorant of the laws that they violate law-abiding citizens walking on the beach speaking to city council, or wearing a shirt that hurts your feelings. Is that appropriate, Mayor? All this done to people who pay your salaries, yet none of you will hold them accountable. People calling you is a redress of grievances. You also had complaints about calls, which is also within the First Amendment right that you refuse to abide by. Just like you, I'm a public figure, and people have threatened to shoot my wife in the face, rape her, kill me, post my address everywhere, and stalk me for years. And that doesn't even scratch the surface. But I'm sorry your feelings are hurt about Michael Taylor's speech and his T-shirts. Sorry you can't handle that. Put on your big boy pants and suck it up, princess. That's how freedom works. I hope you understand that, Boomer. You mentioned the borderline bad calls you got, but failed to mention if any of the communications were legitimate. Were any of the communications legitimate? Why didn't you mention any of those? No one had anything important to say? Or does that not fit your demonizing narrative of free press? Do you really believe that more aggressive and unlawful restricting is the very thing you guys have done and you're doubling down on it?
Your time's up, sir.
Learn the law.
Your time's up,
abide
sir.
by the law.
Your time is up.
Thank you. I'll see you next time, sir.
Next citizen to speak to an item that's not on the agenda.
Council, good evening, Madam Mayor. My name is Dr. Sean Berry. I'm here today to talk about freedom. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his book here, Strength to Love, changed the landscape of freedom in America. Today, in this day and age, is the time we really need freedom back again. This council, for the most part, has been professional until it came to free speech. There are things people say here that they don't want to hear, but we have the freedom to say them. Cohen, Martin Luther King, two different sides of the same story of freedom. However, we have the right to say it. We have the right to redress our government without being brutalized by your officers, who in this day and age we're seeing are used more and more as Stasi than police officers, the peacekeepers. I wish y'all would kind of let this sink in a little bit. We're free Americans, but we're seeing it go the opposite direction now with a lot of politics and things. So, everybody, y'all have a blessed evening. Thank you very much.
Are there any other citizens to be heard on items not on the agenda? Sorry.
I'd like to get down to some business now. I'm Mike Mastrosario. I'm here for two reasons. I was at the work session on the other day, and I wanted to talk about the CRA's you guys approved a mediocre plan to move forward on the 400 and 500 blocks. I think it needs to be addressed and more of a permanent situation. There's 28 parking spaces in the 400, 500, and 600 blocks. I think 600 needs to be addressed also. I think we need to be doing a very a good, solid plan that we can get behind. I'd like to use 12 to 14 spaces for different retail locations, coffee shops, bookstores, bakeries, clothing, shoes and accessories, ice cream, sandwich shops, fresh produce, gift shops, florists. A real retail oriented, not just a couple restaurants. Mobile vendors need to be permanent, not temporary. Permanent vendors would be able to be consistently advertised to bring substantial amount of people downtown. People would know what to expect when they're visiting downtown. I have a passion for downtown, and I'm not going to, so I want to talk on two things tonight. So that's one of them. So please address that and try to get the best that we can have, not just Band-Aid. I think, Ryan, you called it a Band-Aid the other day. We need to address it and get the best we can have. I know our city can do better than just a temporary thing. Now going on to the signage thing that Tony mentioned. I wrote some notes, but I'm going to just try to go off the cuff. I'm in the sign business, and I know there's a lot of people who try to put signs up, and a lot of sign companies do not like to do business in Clearwater because it's too hard. I did the Emily sign that went up, and I had to go through 3 vendors that eventually said they would not do the business, and we had to give it the Global sign, which was more money, but it was doable. And so we need to make it easier to do business in Clearwater. Second thing is, in regards to A-frame signs, I know that there are vendors that are trying to buy permits because you have to buy a year-long permit for $25. The portal is closed until September, they've been told. So why is that? Why can't they put, they're willing to pay $25, they're willing to buy a permit. Why can't they do that? But there's an opportunity for our downtown to grow, and these businesses put blood and guts in trying to do that. But yet there's other buildings that are filthy dirty, empty, vacant. They don't get fines. But businesses that are doing business, they get fined for trying to succeed. So I'm asking you to use common sense. I'm asking you to get out and look around and see. But there's other buildings that are also under construction. And I think they talked about 10% or 25% of window space. I know some buildings are completely closed where there's visuals in there because it's up and coming. And I appreciate that. It looks good. But anyway, please, let's look common sense. Thank you.
Any other citizens desiring to be heard on agenda items not on the agenda?
You guys are doing great tonight. My name's Blaine Enderly. Now, this is a business meeting, but I was told that we will never innovate in Clearwater. One of you said that, and I hope that's not true. Okay, let's try some innovation. If you guys ban this man from talking his 3 minutes, I will zoom down on the thing for me, see? And I got a remote speaker, and he will say his 3 minutes through that. So please don't do that. Second of all, Mr. Cotton, I have a serious problem with Ms. Poirier not living in Clearwater.
Mr. Enderly, just address
Okay.
the council as a whole.
But this is how I have to address, sir.
You can talk about it.
Okay, I'll talk to you.
Address me.
Mr. Cotton, I have a problem. Okay, I watched the council approve her contract. So I'm asking, Ms. Terrier, I need to know why you approved it. Did you know about her not living in Clearwater? Her daughter lives here. You seconded Mr. Albrighton. Per Mike, I got an email. Please send me your reasons why. Before I go ballistic, I need to know why. I need to know your opinion. It might be a good one. You can persuade me. You can persuade me. I have a serious problem with her not knowing what it costs for reclaimed water on her bill every month. We're paying her over $250,000. That's half of what we pay the President of the United States. That's why we pay her that money to come in here and get this, pay these ridiculous fees to live here. That's a salary based on that, not based on her living someplace else. I bet you he followed it. It's horrible, the cost of moving in here. That's why we pay you that salary. And Mr. Margolis, I'm asking you, please tell me why you put her husband in the contract. What on earth is her husband doing in a contract between the city and her? Blows my mind. Did we do that with any other person? The contract is between the city and Miss Poirier. I don't care what her husband does. I don't care where her husband lives. I had a boss for 10 years. His wife lived right beside him down in Sarasota on the Gulf of Mexico. They both had houses. People live weird in America. But we want Miss Poirier to live here. And I want to know why, I want to know why, and I want to know why. Thank you.
Are there any other citizens here to be heard regarding items not on the agenda?
I'm, again, with the district. This is Xavier. He's our 3-location GM as well as a member of the district with us. He's going to be presenting something where I've been noticing that a lot of events are going down in downtown, but at an exorbitant price. After doing my due diligence and vetting out of as well as entertainers and stuff, as myself and part of the district, we were able to provide not only marketing, but entertainment for at both 400 and 500 block for the summer, the whole summer, for 50. 28 in performances, and the rest would be allocated to marketing, which is a lean budget when it comes to that kind of performance. Xavier's going to be presenting the rest of the stuff. This is just a rough draft, but it's our effort to show you guys that the citizens want to do this and not for profit.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Xavier. Just to reiterate, I'm the operating manager of the Nash Keys, which is located on 520 Cleveland Street. And basically, we kind of have an idea, and we want to introduce to possibly do a summer concert series in the downtown area of Clearwater. We have over 10, well, we have numerous acts lined up and scheduled to possibly perform. And essentially, we just kind of want to create consistent entertainment in the downtown district. Hopefully that consistency, which is hopefully brought to the consumers and the citizens at no cost to them, consistent entertainment and just a reason to come to downtown Clearwater. I think the summer concert series would absolutely give the merchants a chance to do business better and just give the citizens a reason to come downtown. Like I said, it'll be a summer concert series. We want to bring consistent free entertainment to the downtown area. We also want to kind of do more of like family-friendly events as well, alongside the music events. And I know this is just a rough draft. I have, like I said, I have acts scheduled out until November of people that are willing to perform here. And we're doing it at a price that's probably a fraction of what some of the other people who have come up here and presented and asked for. So, like I said, this is just an introduction. I guess we'll have a more formal meeting once I present this idea to the EDC. All right, thank you.
Are there any other citizens being heard tonight regarding items not on the agenda?
How's it going? My name is Dan. I'm kind of new to this, but who's in charge of overlooking the budgets for what is spent? Let's just say the Marina $43 million budget that's increased from 18. Who is the overlook committee for that budget? Is it you guys? Are you guys the ones? You guys can answer. You guys can talk back.
It's your 3 minutes.
I'm willing to. You can chime on in. I'm just wondering.
It's your 3 minutes to share with us what.
Okay.
It's not for dialogue.
I just want to know, like, who's in charge of this, this budget stuff? Because an article that just came out 2 days ago, St. Pete Beach residents call for investigation into possible misappropriation of Gulf Boulevard project funds. They had $12.5 million for a 3-year project on Gulf Boulevard. Now they're requesting 10 million more taxpayer dollars to finish this project. So this project for $43 million, I guarantee it's not going to come on budget, and you guys are going to be asking for more taxpayer dollars to finish this off. And when it comes to corruption with everything, another article just came out. The Madeira Beach mayor alleges corruption and resigned a few days ago. So everything's kind of falling in this area: Madeira, St. Pete, Clearwater. A lot of corruption going on, and we'd like to see things fixed and taken care of. Thank you. And vote for Trump to fix this problem.
Any other citizens here to be heard on items not on the
My name's
agenda?
Anthony. I live kind of local here. I missed the agenda item earlier about Kaminga and Rudovitz because I'm partially deaf. And I had a speech prepared for the policy you're about to put in place to keep out-of-towners from speaking at public meetings. And what I have to say about that really shows how important it is to have people from other communities come here to comment on things. When you're dealing with any company, the main priority that you need to stress to these people is the safety of the citizens. Now, when they were working in my area, they were working by a school, a high school and an elementary school. Because of a bus driver shortage, kids within 2 miles were forced to walk to school. They had to walk through this construction area. And this company forced children that lived, they were in an area and had to go about 500 feet through the construction zone in order to get to their house or the driveway to their home. Or people to a business. And these children were forced to cross the busy intersection, or not an intersection, but a busy roadway, to walk 400 or 500 feet down the road and then have to cross that busy roadway again to get to their home or the business that they were going to. And this company, when I started exposing this stuff, they assaulted me and battered me. One of them actually tried to run me over with a loader. And I just think it's important that you as a city council and city manager or whatever, you need to stress to this company how important public safety is. And if there's an issue, maybe they need to stop the equipment and let the person walk by. I seen them make a person in a wheelchair have to cross the road, and they couldn't even push the wheelchair through there. The person that was pushing this disabled person, for the same thing, to have to cross the road again. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and maybe that's something that you can consider when you're trying to put this policy in place to ban other people from coming and commenting. There's important issues that could be brought to your attention that you may miss out on. Thank you for letting me speak. You have a nice day.
Any other citizens speak heard on items not on the agenda?
How y'all doing? I just want to say I appreciate all of you guys. So I'm not here to complain. I just came to reiterate what they already talked about, signage. I appreciate what Clearwater has done for me. I'm
Sir.
sorry, Dale.
Sir,
Downtown
State your
Pizza.
name.
State your name, please.
Yeah, Dale Robinson with Downtown Pizza. I appreciate what the city of Clearwater has done for me. They've granted me some grants to help fix up my restaurant, but we're having some issues with some of the stuff externally and just signage in particular. I have a full banner on one of my windows, actually it was on two, and they actually told me to take them down. I'm just asking if we can get a little bit of leeway on some of the signage. I know the current rule, I guess, is 10%, and we're just asking if we can, as long as it's professional, if we can go beyond the 10%, because all we're doing is attempting to draw more businesses or more people down to downtown. And the only way we can do that is with signage, as long as it's professionally done, tasteful. We're just asking if we can go above the 10% with either A-frame sign or signage on the windows. I'm not complaining. I appreciate what Clearwater's done for me. I'm just asking if we can get just a little bit of leeway on that rule and what we'd have to do moving forward, because I have until, I think, the 26th to remove the banner that was put up. So that's it. Thank you.
Any other citizens here tonight to speak to items not on the agenda? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move to item. I believe it's city manager reports. Yeah, item 10, city manager reports. Yep.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Marcus Williamson, Public Works Director. I just want to give an update on some of the North Beach stormwater and what we've been doing. So continuing, we've got the camera crew out there doing the inspection and the maintenance crews out there continuing to go through the pipes. We've got the tidal valve contractor that had installed some of the original ones out there. They're making some tweaks and ensuring that those tidal valves are working properly. There was 4 locations up on North Beach that did not have tidal valves, so we're in the process of purchasing tidal valves, and then we will install those also. Did just want to kind of compliment some of the teams during the recent heavy rains. I actually happened to have been down at a stormwater conference down south at the time, so I got to see the impacts of what some of those communities were feeling down there, and then be able to watch some of what was going on in their areas with the videos. And just wanted to say, it looks like we're making some progress. Things are flowing a little bit better. We still recognize we've got a long way to go, but it does look like we were recovering a little bit faster than some of the other communities out there. We did get some concept updates in from one of our engineers. So it looked at a little bit of lateral connection that was out there, so that was good. Gave us a little bit more information that we can kind of put into the solicitation that's going to be going out shortly for the main master plan that's going on. And that was all I had, unless there was any questions.
Questions from the council? Okay, good update. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything further from the city manager?
No, sir. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody might have in regards to my contract. I did address that at the last meeting, so I don't have any plans to go into that again unless there's any questions.
I have a comment, and maybe I'm asking a request for assistance, talking about that.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Okay.
So I can attest that she lives in Clearwater. She's my neighbor. The reason why we have a different contract is because a different person. The previous city manager was alone and was moving from another state. So each employment contract is different. My understanding, and I was told I was correct, there is no mandate to own property, just to reside. She doesn't have to sell property, she doesn't have to buy property, just reside in Clearwater. And that she does. However, I would like some assistance from City Attorney Margolis to speak to this matter in a clear, concise way, because you can best describe her contract and how she is adhering to it, please, if you don't mind.
Well, I mean, the issue is pretty straightforward from my perspective. So, as Councilmember Teixeira pointed out, we have a residency requirement for both the city attorney and the city manager. That's common, a lot of cities do. Not every city, but Clearwater is certainly among them. As a quick aside, I've made the observation privately to a few people that the requirement that a city manager in particular reside within the city of their employment is at times a questionable proposition. I'm not sure as a policy matter that the benefits of that actually outweigh some of the harms. The dangers I have seen in some cities, and not Clearwater, but the dangers I have seen in some cities, and we know there's commissioner-manager governments all over the United States, is that allegations and perceptions can arise of a city manager favoring their part of the city and their neighborhood, their community, their area. So if it was up to me, our city charter probably wouldn't make it a requirement in the first place. That said, it is a requirement in a lot of cities, has been going back probably 100 years in America. So that is going to be the way it is, until the city charter is amended. True for the city attorney as well. As far as the language specifically in the current city manager's contract, let me say a few things. First, that language has not changed since the council approved her contract in April of 2023. And so for anyone to suggest that the language has changed, we need to be more precise. Nothing has changed in the past 13 or 14 months relating to her contract. No one has asked me to make any changes, either the city manager, the city council, or anyone else. I think what people are really saying is that the current city manager's contract is phrased differently than that of the prior city manager. I would agree with that. That is a true statement. I don't find it to be remarkable. If we look at the specific changes or the specific aspects of her contract compared to that of the previous city manager, what exactly are the differences? Well, as we heard earlier from one citizen, it is true that the residency requirement relating to this city manager is spelled out in much greater detail than that of the prior city manager. But unlike the citizen who commented earlier, that is not to give any special treatment to our current city manager. On the contrary, I actually find the language in her contract to be far more onerous and far more restrictive than the previous city manager had to endure. The previous city manager was required only to reside within the city. There was no explanation of what would happen in relation to homestead, no explanation of what would happen to family members. None of that was spelled out in detail. How would he provide evidence of his residency within the city of Clearwater? We took the time to ensure that the council would have detailed information from the city manager in regards to establishing how that residency is known. So yes, it is a 3-paragraph provision, but that's not because there's any special privileges. On the contrary, there are special burdens that our current city manager has been given that were not placed on her predecessor. So I find that statement to be rather surprising. As far as the city manager's spouse, the previous city manager was not married, which is why there was no reference to their spouse. In addition to that, the previous city manager, as Councilmember Teixeira pointed out, was relocating from a different state. Now, I was not present in the city of Clearwater when the prior manager's contract was drafted, so I don't want to speak to what my predecessor was thinking or what she discussed with the council at the time. But from my perspective, I think it protects both the manager and the council to have an open dialogue in the contract as to how to handle a spouse when you hire a city manager who is married, who owns property somewhere else in Florida. The concern from my standpoint, and certainly one that was discussed with the council members at the time when Jennifer was appointed as city manager, is how to navigate homestead issues relating to residency, right? Anyone who owns property with a spouse understands that you're probably on the title, probably on the deed together. And if you have to move into the city of Clearwater, how do you deal with the fact that your spouse jointly owns property with you outside the city. Now, sure, we could have just glossed over that. That would have been the easy thing to do. That would have been the opaque thing to do. I could have written this contract in a way that was silent, made no acknowledgement or recognition. That, I believe, would have been a disservice to everyone in this city, including the city manager. So instead of doing that, we set the expectations very clearly as to how she could establish residency, specifying that she would even have to go so far as to affirmatively notify the property appraiser that she was no longer living with her husband at the home they jointly own as a marital estate outside the city of Clearwater, but elsewhere in Pinellas County. So these protections in here, in this contract, are designed to uphold the public trust, to provide transparency as to the process, to give certainty as to how we establish someone's residency, and to avoid any confused expectations either from the manager with whom the contract was negotiated, the council with whom the manager and I serve, and the general public. I just don't understand where people are coming from here, because I find nothing wrong with what was done. And as far as I know, the city manager is in full compliance with the contract. I have zero concerns. I regret only the fact that I've had to take the last 7 minutes of my life explaining this.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Anything further?
No, sir.
Okay. Now with that, we'll go to city attorney reports. Anything further from the city attorney?
Nothing other than just to say, I guess, as an addendum to this, that topic of where the city manager resides and how long she must be there is also spelled out in detail in the contract. Again, these are not special privileges. These are burdens that the city has placed on the city manager, expectations that were placed on the city manager above and beyond those that were required of the previous city manager. So, if anything, I think the manager has probably right to complain that she has been held to a harsher standard than that of her predecessor. And in all candor, some of that is because of my drafting preferences. I tend to be a very precise drafter when it comes to contracts, and wanted both for the protection of our incoming manager as well as the council to have certainty. But it says in the contract how many days a year even she has to spend at a particular location. That is going well beyond anything that was expected either of the prior city manager or anything that is articulated in the city charter. So to reiterate, I have no concerns at all over our current status.
Okay, we'll move to item 13 on the agenda, closing comments by council members. Councilmember Cotton?
Nothing to say, sir.
Councilmember Texera?
So I'm going to leave to the mayor to go over all the wonderful things that great people are doing all over Clearwater and all the events we've attended. I do want to apologize ahead of time because I will be missing these two great, important events in our city. June 27th, Olive and Thyme will be opening, as well as Nash Key's grand opening on July 4th. I'm so sorry I won't be in town, but I will be there in spirit. Congratulations. I have to say, I've been looking for some ways to stay upbeat and positive because I think that's how it should be and how I can get most accomplished. So I was kind of looking for words of inspiration, and I'm going to end it with a very positive note. And I'm going to quote Coretta Scott King. "The greatness of community is most accurately measured by the compassionate action of its members, a heart of grace, and a soul generated by love." And that's how I'm going to end my day.
Councilmember Menino?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Three things real quick I'll fly through. July 26th is the Paris Olympics. I want to wish the families of Noah Lyons and Bobby Fink. We do have two Clearwater residents, one defending his gold in swimming, the other a young man for the first time in sailing. I want to wish them and their family, their loved ones, safe travels and the absolute best of luck in Paris. Look forward to watching, cheering, and screaming for them all, and it'll be very exciting to see Clearwater being represented on the stage of the best in Paris. Secondly, I want to give a little bit of thank you and love to our downtown businesses and merchants. I want to thank you for the hard work that you put in to the downtown, the blood, sweat, and tears that you do. every single day for your livelihoods, for your families, but above all else, to make downtown great. We hear you. I hear you. I'm 100% in support of you. I think we put sometimes codes and ordinances on the books because we see the development curve of what we think a city should look like. And I agree with those as we sit today, but I don't think we're where we want to be when we grow up yet. I think we're still at a state of infancy. And with that being said, I'm 100% on board with Councilwoman's suggestion from Monday about delaying enforcements of your signage rules down there so that you can continue to attract and grow business and visitors to our downtown. I'll work in everything that I can on my side to support you, and we'll see what happens with the rest of council and staff, but we hear you. Last thing to wrap up real quick, I just wanted to thank you, Mayor, for your leadership and for your courage. I know the last couple days and weeks have been stressing and trying on yourself, not to mention staff and the rest of this council. I just want to thank you. I know it's a challenge for you because of how hard you respect our U.S. Constitution and the First Amendment, and drawing balance between that and what we saw of a mockery so often. And I know that's been challenging on you. So thank you for your leadership and your courage.
Vice Mayor Albritton?
As chairman of the PSTA Planning Committee, we had a meeting yesterday. I brought away some things I thought it'd be interesting for this board and the general public. Key areas from the board's perspective of PSTA is we want to increase ridership and tourist services. Increased ridership means increased revenue. We want to grow partnerships for revenue enhancement and/or cost avoidance, and then find more efficiencies and resiliency to budget fluctuations. In summary, the budget for this year looks like it's going to be $121 million, and that we're going to meet that budget with about a $1 million anticipated surplus. With no service reductions anticipated, we're going to have a new premium service on 34th Street, and contracted ferry is introduced. And potential tourist service from St. Pete Clearwater Airport, which is going to be good. So those are the things that the Planning Committee talked about, and I'll keep you up to date on the actual board when we get to it. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to the next item on the agenda. That's closing comments by mayor. So I have several things tonight. I just want to say first, to echo what some of the other council members said about the city manager. I've had an opportunity to work with the city manager now for going on 3 months now, and I can tell the public she doesn't hide anything. She's completely transparent. She's been completely transparent with us about her residents and with the city attorney. She's never tried to hide or she's not trying to put one over on anybody. She has, in my opinion, and as far as I know, fulfilled all of the contractual responsibilities that she agreed to. And she's been very transparent about that. And we, the city attorney holds all of us accountable on a number of things, following Florida law, following our charter, and he holds us to make sure we're following our contractual commitments as well. So I just want the public to know that any confusion, there is some confidentiality that the city manager's afforded, and some for public records because of her family being participating as a firefighter in the state of Florida that gives some protection on information. But she has been completely transparent on everything in all respects. And I have full confidence she's meeting her contractual commitments with the city of Clearwater to fill the role as city manager. And then the second thing I wanted to say is just, the issue that's come up tonight, and again, we've had some speakers here, one that had to be removed, and complained repeatedly about having to drive 4 hours from the east coast of Florida to get here, and all the time he'd spent, researching. We have a solution for his challenge, and that is don't. The Clearwater citizens do not want him coming here repeatedly, dragging at our meetings, costing the taxpayers money by causing these meetings to go on and on and on. So If it's a problem for you to drive all this distance for these meetings, don't. No one, I haven't spoken with one Clearwater citizen who wants him here. And
I
others-
do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. You're not supposed to interrupt another speaker, Brian. I know, well, you told me the other day you didn't, Mr. Olympus, so you didn't want anything to do with him. So, Mr. Enderle, I don't know. Let me finish if you would, okay? All we ask is that you come in here and we don't interrupt you when you talk, but you're respectful and you respect everybody else here. And some folks have a hard time doing that. They did fine on a number of issues, but when it came time for them to put on a show, they put on their show. This is not the place for a show. This is a place for us to conduct city business, and we're going to conduct it according to meetings to keep it organized and reduce the time that the city taxpayers are paying for running this meeting. And more than anything, the thing I've been the most concerned about is a dampening effect on Clearwater citizens who have legitimate local issues being uncomfortable now coming to meetings because of folks coming in from 4 hours away to create a circus, and we don't want that. We want this to be a welcoming, inviting place, and that's why I have repeatedly said, everyone's entitled to come up and speak, but be respectful to the other folks here who may have some other issue that's just as important to them, but do it in a respectful way. That's all we ask, and that's all we ask going forward. But this is just a distraction, and a very small distraction from the many fantastic things going on in this city. This council has been working very hard, city manager, city attorney, all of our 1,800 employees, to make great things happen for Clearwater. We had, last Saturday, we had a Hurricane Expo in partnership with Pinellas County government. That was fantastic. We got lots of television coverage on it, and we got so many thank yous from our community, passing out sandbags, hurricane preparedness information. It was a fantastic event, and I want to thank our city staff for helping partner with Pinellas County government to do that. Today, we broke ground on a affordable housing complex, Clearwater Gardens, a much-needed addition and development in our city, and we hope that that will be an example to all of Tampa Bay on how to make affordable housing projects happen. It's going to be a great, and we hope it will be a seed that revitalizes that part of Clearwater. We have the first anniversary celebration for Coachman Park coming up here soon, so we've got activities to celebrate the one-year anniversary of many activities taking place in Coachman Park that have added vitality to this city and will continue to do so. And then the last thing is, we have had a very long tradition here in Clearwater of putting on a fantastic July 4th celebration. And this year, our Clearwater Celebrates America event, I hope will be bigger and better than ever. And I hope we had a huge crowd last year. We have an even bigger crowd this year because we want to be celebrating not only our country, but we want to be celebrating all the great things that are going on and taking place in Clearwater. And more than anything, pulling Clearwater together to continue to grow and make it thrive and make it better for everyone, regardless of where they're at on the income scale or where they live in the community. We want to make Clearwater the best community it can be. So distractions, we've had a few, but let's not lose sight of where we are headed with this city. We are headed to a great place. We've got great momentum. We have the support of the region. I don't know how many regional leaders I've spoken to who are looking forward to collaborating with us on things. So I want to leave it with that. I couldn't be more excited about this city and where it's headed. And I think this past 2 weeks, events we've had coming up, Clearwater Celebrates America, will just be further evidence of where we're headed and growing and making this city thrive more than ever has. So with that, if there's no further business to come before the council, I adjourn the June 2024 meeting of the Clearwater City Council.